Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelly. So glad you guys are here. So yesterday I filmed a video and I was so rushed. I thought I had more time. Yeah, I had somewhere to be and I thought I had more time. So I rushed it so much. My husband said, hey, why don't you refilm that video? And I thought, okay, while he's doing housework, he's vacuuming and stuff, I figured I would maybe put some makeup on and instead of doing the one look that I had done in a rush, which is not what you guys come here for. You don't come here for just like, I gotta go. At least I wouldn't think so. I'm actually gonna do 3 looks with the Blend Buddy Cosmetics, all done up. The box, there's the palette, and now because I've used it, this is no longer gonna be a first impression. However, comment, by the way, I just put on the NYX Plump Right Back with electrolytes. It's a little sticky, but I think it'll work. I really like this palette. And it's funny because when this one first came out, I wasn't really sure that it was going to be for me. I'm using the Patrick Ta for face. This is in shade Light 4. If you saw my other video with Patrick Ta stuff, the palette came broken. I went and exchanged it, so this is the one I've got. So if it's not in the right order, I apologize. Not a professional YouTuber. When the All Done Up palette came out from Blend Buddy, I was like, I don't know that this is really one for me. And the reason why is because I've got a row of pastels, not a huge pastel wearer. You've got a row of these dark colors, and in the promotional pictures, they almost look like the same shade. And I couldn't tell if these were pressed glitters or not, which is not really something that I like to wear on my face, or my eyes, for instance. Isn't that foundation pretty? So I got the Dollhouse palette, and I love the formula so much that I went back and purchased this one. And I'm so glad that I did. Like I said, I did one look with it yesterday. I've been traveling, and I got home, and this was waiting for me when I got home, and it came in perfect condition, and I could not wait to film. And my husband had gigs the last 2 nights, but the first night, it was the day that I landed, and I just didn't have time to film anything. And yesterday, I thought I had more time than I did, but I did not. A little bit congested right now. That sometimes happens when I travel and then I get home and I start loving on the dogs again. And I'm tired too, you guys. I mean, I've been go. I think I was home 1 day in the last 2 weeks. Officially 2 days. This is the 3rd day in the last 2 weeks, 2+ weeks that I've been home. Anyway, hi you guys. My name is Shelly. I am so ridiculously glad you guys are here. I should have started with that instead of just kind of jumping into it. If you guys are new to my channel, we are a growing community. Not everybody that watches the channel is a lady of a certain age, and I am ridiculously grateful for you guys that aren't, that keep coming around just because of the love of makeup. I'm not a professional makeup artist. I'm also not a professional YouTuber. I really like makeup. Don't really do tutorials because I just don't feel qualified. But I've been around the block a little bit, and I probably don't give myself as much credit as I should, just because I feel like, well, do I really know what I'm doing? And then sometimes I go, maybe I do know what I'm doing. We don't care. It's not about that. Makeup is not that serious. It's not for me, it's like it can be a mood elevator. It can be something that maybe evokes a certain emotion or a certain je ne sais quoi. I say that when I don't really know what to say. I'm going to use, speaking of Patrick Ta, I'm going to use the For Face palette. This is the Major Headlines Blush Palette Volume 2. We're going to use this today. Actually, you know what I want to do? Before I put that on, I'm going to use some of the Sigma bronzer just to kind of contour my face up a little bit here. What was I saying? Sometimes when I travel, I come back and I'm loving on the dogs, and then I feel like I'm allergic to them a little bit, so I get a little congested, and then it gets better. I pre-film a lot of stuff because this is not my job. So I tend to pre-film and get you guys content. My plan is to post almost every day, if not every day, during the month of December. I hope you guys stick around because I really appreciate you guys. I'm probably one of the most honest. This is no shade on anybody else, but because I don't get paid. In fact, I buy all this stuff with my own money. Because I don't get paid to do this, I can give you guys like honest feedback. I want to use this bright pink blush in here. And I'm going to start with the powder back up high a little bit. And then as I blend it in, I'm going to work it into the cream a little bit more towards my cheek. And I know it seems strange to do powder first, but I think this is kind of how Patrick Ta designed this stuff. It's so pretty. The first time somebody said, oh, fuchsia blush is a dog. Fuchsia blush is what you should wear. And I was like, what? That was a long time ago. So now I'm not shy from blush. I've always loved blush. I love the idea of like over abusing blush. I think it can really help change your shape a little bit. The shape of your face, not your other shape. Anyway, I'm going to use the cream blush now. I've always over abused blush, so I'm not shy about blush. I try to be more specific about it these days. I don't know, maybe it's being a child of the 80s. Technically a child of the 70s and a young adult of the 80s, but whatever. We're not judging. This is a judgment-free zone, you guys. This is like a drama-free zone, but like a judgment-free zone. I love the idea of lifting up other women, supporting them, encouraging them. And if you get that from any of this stuff that I'm doing here, fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of this gel. It's like a highlighter base is what I'm gonna call it. And I'm gonna pick up a little bit of it and put it right here. What I love about this particular product is it goes on translucent. Oh my gosh, my husband's vacuuming. I didn't plan that very well, did I? Anyway, it's a kind of like a gel base, and then you can tap on powder shimmer on top of it, and it kind of sticks pretty good. What I'm discovering about this is when you put that gel down first, the shimmer doesn't settle into the wrinkles and crinkles and make you look, I don't know, bring more attention to it. It's actually kind of fun. And this shade being a little warmer and darker doesn't translate as gray on me, and sometimes that happens. Complexion products mostly done. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some of the powder from this. I did buy the dual-ended brush when I picked this up. I didn't buy it the first time, but when I went into Sephora, where was I at? Salt Lake City, I guess. And I had taken it with me, and I walked in there and I'm like, hey, so I ordered this online, but it came in broken. Showed her the receipt and stuff, and she was like, oh yeah, we can swap it out. Got the right shade. Picked up the brush while I was at it. Do I think you need this brush? I don't know that you need this particular brush. It's a nice brush. If you don't have brushes, okay, but I don't know that you need the dual-ended brush to go with the face palette. Like, it's fine. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know that you need it. Okay, I'm gonna put a little concealer on my eyelids. This is the Sephora Bright Future Gel Serum Concealer, and this is in shade 09 Sable. I was having a hard time picking the one that I wanted. We're gonna put a little bit of this more up here, and then I'm gonna put some on my lids. You know what, I'm gonna actually just use a damn beauty blender. I think this actually might be a beauty blender. Oh my gosh, you guys, when I was traveling, I realized I had washed my sponge that was in my travel case, and I needed a new one since I wasn't at home. Anyway, so I hopped into Walgreens and I picked up, I think it was the Walgreens brand of sponge. That was horrible. It's so hard. And even if I soaked it for a while, it just never really got super soft and bouncy. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a certain product that works really well for that. I didn't find that it worked very well for me applying my foundations and blending and stuff like that. I just didn't really care for it. This is the Ish Brow Combo. I say brow combo, but I think it's got an angle on one side and then it's got a spoolie on the other, and there's no other product in here. It's really just a spoolie and then an angled brush, and the angled product. And I think the angled product, it's like one of those teardrop shapes. It reminds me of one of the Benefit ones, which means I can do brows very, very fast. Okay, you guys, so normally I try not to do like a full face of makeup when I'm doing 3 looks, but I already had to put it on and I was just like sitting down ready to go, so apologize for that. I'm gonna zoom you guys in and let's play with this eyeshadow palette, because that's really what you came here for, right? You're not just here to like hang out with me, although I wish you would. I think we're close enough. I think we can kind of see what's going on here. I gotta get some of these brushes out of the way. Sometimes when I travel, I just miss filming. I miss being at home with my stuff. Although, if you guys want a video of some of my favorite like work travel products, and I specifically say work travel products because I think that there are fantastic palettes that you can use for traveling for pleasure. If you're traveling internationally, traveling on vacation or whatever else, and those are not the palettes I use for work. Those are a little bit usually too colorful and too fun. The ones that I use for work are a lot of browns. A lot of browns, sometimes some mauves, sometimes some peachy corally colors, but for the most part I stay out of the primary and stay with a little bit more of the, don't notice the eyeshadow as much as just notice the overall aesthetic. All right, you guys, this is the Blend Bunny All Done Up palette. You've probably seen videos from everybody. Indie brand. Didn't take horribly long to ship, in all honesty. I mean, I think I received it within a week or so, week and a half. I live in Washington State, plus I was traveling for work. So, or I was traveling at the time that it came in. So it sat at home for a little while. Now that I'm back and I'm able to, you know, sit down and film with you guys, I think I want to do 3 looks with it. Yesterday when I filmed with it, I did a lot of these kind of like grungy greens. This is so pretty. Added a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this, I think. So I've kind of played around with it a little bit, and I understand, I think, a little bit more about the palette. Because of the Natasha Denona Midi Retro Glam palette, I kind of want to dip into this shade a little bit and see how it looks. I might try to combine some of these shades with some of these pink shades just to kind of see what we get, because I think that's kind of like the MIDI retro vibe. And then I want to do a look with some of these colors right here. And then I have to get back into these greens. So I'm going to end up doing a look, and then I'll take it off and do a final look. I hope that meets with your approval. I'm going to start with a shade right here called Transform. What I've found about Blend Bunny, it's a good brand. These shades tend to be very pigmented. I've just been very, very pleased with it. And I don't know why, when I first saw this particular palette, I was like, I don't know that that's really for me. As I said earlier, I was worried that the dark shades, the super rich shades, were going to be too much, or I thought they were going to be too similar. And I was like, why do you need all of those dark shades? But when you see it in the palette, it makes a lot more sense. I like the fact that they're really pigmented, but I can apply just a little bit and get it to sheer out enough. Okay, I'm going to grab the shade here, the lightest one in this row, called Natural. I think the way the palette is laid out is pretty cool too. You don't struggle with how to apply it or what the color story is. They spell it out for you. You have your light shade, you have your mid-tone shade, you have your super dark shade, and then you have your sparkle. You don't go down a row to do a look. That just doesn't make sense. You could do some squares, but you have to be really careful about which squares you pick. You could do some diagonals. That could be super fun and edgy and different. Even down this way, I see some looks that would be pretty unusual, but might be kind of fun. They just don't make it that difficult. Just go down a row, or go down a column. That's all you have to do. I hold it upside down because of the mirror. Most YouTubers do, just so you know. I don't want to blind you with the reflection from the mirror here. So anyway, I ordered this off of, I'm going to switch brushes here. The first brush I used was a Rephr 14, just in case you're curious. And I'm going to switch to a Rephr 13 and go into Goddess, which is the dark shade in this palette. Pick up a little bit of it. Super pigmented, just to be forewarned. And I'm going to take it from my lash line and go up here a little bit. I'm absolutely obsessed how pigmented these are and how well they go on. And just putting on that super dark shade, I don't have any fallout under my eyes. I might even perform better with an actual eyelid primer versus what I used, which was just concealer, because it was right in front of me. Didn't feel like going to find the other stuff. The other thing I like about this palette is that even though it's a fall palette, I think the way the color stories work, it gives you, it spells out to you some variety in tones. Like you have your green, you have a little bit more of a, I mean, that's kind of a warm brown, but you've got your pink in your burgundy and your pink shimmer. This is more of a, I wouldn't call it pink, I'd call it more of a peach color. Then you've got like your yellow row, you've got your green row, and you've got your gray row. That's kind of how I would break it down, which means that for a week, if you wear slightly different color stories, but you're still kind of like a fall vibe, you've got everything taken care of right there. Everything you need is right here. And I'm so happy with the quality of it. It's just blending out so nicely. Just a soft look. It's really pretty. I'm gonna actually take that shade Natural, which is the lighter shade here in the palette, and I'm going to go all over my lid because I'm going to put a little of that glitter right on top. I have been wearing a lot of mattes for work lately. Sometimes they look a little chalky. Not these guys. That actually just looks really smooth. And I just put it on top of concealer. There was nothing fancy about that. Okay, yesterday I think I used a brush. Today I'm going to use my finger and go in with this green right here. This one's called Starlit. So I used Natural, Transform, Goddess, and Starlit is the shimmer. And I have just been pressing this right on top of like the movable lid space, and even all the way out corner, and then just blending up just a little bit here. And I think that is just so pretty. It's like pretty, subtle, kind of a little bit edgy, but not horribly so. Let me put some Tower 28 mascara on. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I could leave well enough alone. I think it's okay, but I want to do something on the bottom here. So I'm going to grab my little pencil brush. This is going to be a Rephr 03. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the shade Ready, which is kind of like a little bit more of a burgundy tone to it. And I'm going to put a little bit of it against my lash line here. I love using shadows to kind of define your eyes a little bit. Like you would normally use with an eyeliner, but I think it makes things a lot more softer, which I'm really appreciative of. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab a little bit of this kind of teal green, which you wouldn't think would be a good combination, but I did it last night when I was finishing up my makeup in the car, and I really liked it, especially with that kind of grungy green on top. So I'm just kind of trying to recreate some of the stuff that I did last night. With a little bit of crinkles under my eyes, but that's okay. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna throw a little more mascara on the bottom lashes, and that side will be done. I would say that this Tower 28 mascara is one of my favorites right now. I've been for it a lot. Okay, there's look number one. I typically do a smoky look, so that's no surprise, but this is look number one, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's not fun, it's like fun in a serious way, not fun in like a woohoo kind of way. Let's do something on the side. Okay, I'm gonna go into Vision on the kind of minty row, and I'm gonna put a little of that right here side. For someone like me who I feel like I need lighter shades on the inside and darker shades on the outside because I'm combating these sort of hooded, close-set, mature eyes, this is such a beautiful way of reading the rose. I'm just really thrilled with it. Okay, I'm gonna take the shade called Muse, which is this like dusty sage green, and I'm gonna put a lot of this out here, and as I work it in, hopefully try to blend it out just a bit. The reason why I do have the Natasha Denona Midi Retro Glam palette, but I don't think the looks I did really combined too many of the pinks and greens together. I think I kept them, I usually do more monochromatic eyeshadow look, but I thought this would be kind of fun to do this way. So now I'm going to take this peachy shade right here, warm up those greens, just merge the two together. And I think in the Midi Retro Glam, the pink is a little bit more peach and this is a little bit more peachy, apricot-y kind of color. So now I'm going to take the darkest green right here, which is this one right here. I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of it, and I'm going to define my crease just a little bit more. Camera wanted to shut off. That's in the crease. I'm just flipping this. This is one of those Sigma brushes that came in the Sigma, or it's not this. I think this was the Cinderella one. I don't know, one of the princess palettes, either Cinderella or Alice in Wonderland. I think it must be Cinderella. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna go back into Close Up, which is the kind of peachy color up here. I'm just gonna bring a little bit more of it right here in the center, right above that. I think I got picked up too much on the side. I'm gonna go back into Vision, which is the lightest green, kind of this minty green to go along with that sage. More of it right here. I'm gonna grab this pink shimmer right here, which again is kind of the one that's in the pink row. And I'm gonna apply it with my finger because it worked so well last time. This is so foiled. This is what I think is giving me these retro glam kind of vibes that I got with the Natasha palette. It's frosty and pretty and a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it's kind of fun. It's very festive and feels very winter. All right, I think that's actually kind of fun and pretty. I like the combinations of the greens and the pinks. I'll grab my pencil brush and I'm gonna go into Shapely, which is this dark green. I'm going to put a little of this on the upper lash line. So pigmented and so pretty. Okay, cleaning off my brush a little bit, and then I'm going to go into Ready, which is this shade right here. Put that on the bottom lash line like I did on the first look. I've got a little bit of fallout from that glitter. It's just kind of peppered my face a little bit down here. It's not horrible. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's not horrible. Okay, and then I'm going to go into Shine, which is the shimmer in this, or it's like a pressed glitter, but it's not. I don't know how to describe it. But I'm going to pick up a little bit of it up with a brush as opposed to my finger, and then keep it right in there. The iridescent sparkles in here, super pretty. Very like winter, holiday, snow bunny kind of vibe. And now I'm going to take this green again in here, this one called Muse, and we're just going to soften up that lower lash line that I had that burgundy in and kind of just bring it down a little bit more. It's kind of a kaleidoscope of colors. I think it's kind of fun. It doesn't feel dated, and sometimes when I do like pinks and greens, I start to wonder if it feels dated. Kind of like that whole retro thing. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate the depth of pigment in the super rich shades, and the fact that they are all different tones just makes me ridiculously happy, because sometimes what I'll do with a palette, when I look at the dark shade, if it's not dark enough, like if I get a palette that has a black shade in it, then I will lightly dust that on top of whatever color combination I'm doing for my monochromatic look. It'll give it a little bit more richness in general. I find it's kind of how I use a black eyeshadow. And anyway, I don't have to do that with this. I can just use the colors as they've given it to me. I'm trying to pick up some of that glitter. All right, some of that dusted away. That's kind of fun. Quite a bit different, I think, than this one's a little bit more, I don't know. I'm going to call that serious smoky. This is a little bit more fun and smoky. I like this. Actually, I would totally wear this for date night, probably more than anything else. Maybe if my husband's band was playing, I could see kind of wearing that. They do a largely 70s book of music, especially when it's the full band, as opposed to just like a break off, you know, duo type thing. And so I could see wearing that, and I think it would kind of go along with the whole 60s, 70s, maybe early 80s kind of vibe. All right, so there's 2 looks right now. I'm going to take both of these off and we're going to come back and do a third and final look. So stick with me for just one moment. Okay, guys, we're back. I'm cleaned up. Scooted you out. Hold on. That's a little bit better, right? I got warm. I had the heater on because I was so cold, and this like sweatshirt that I'm trying to keep the makeup off of because it's a white sweatshirt. A little warm. Okay, so let's get back to this. I've really dipped into shades, all the shades from this column, most of the shades from this column, all the shades from this column. Let's play with this one that's got these yellows and kind of mustard greens. I don't know that I'll work in these. These seem very, like this last row out here, that's super like glam holiday, and I'm working from home today. I'm just gonna edit some stuff because I have stuff to catch up on. I got, you know, when I travel, sometimes I try to edit while I'm traveling. I didn't do that last week because I was so busy that I didn't get around to it. I lugged all my stuff with me to Utah. This is a Natasha Denona pencil that desperately needs to be sharpened. All right, we're using this shade called Unexpected. And this is kind of a domed Rougher 12 brush. A little bit of kick up. I'm gonna do both looks on, or the same look on both eyes. I feel like I didn't quite get all of my mascara off. So if there's little dregs of it, then apologies. This mustard shade reminds me how wearable yellows can actually be. Yeah, because it's not, I mean, it's like a warm, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a yellowish brown. Well, you know, like a mustard color, like a Dijon mustard, not necessarily a French's mustard. That's not the same shade at all, but this is actually really pretty. And I like the fact that as a fall color scheme, I not only have shades that I can easily wear into winter and spring, maybe even late summer, now that I'm thinking about it, but these fall shades are just so fun to mix and match. Like if you're somebody who loves a monochromatic look like I typically am, you know, great, fantastic, we have our choices. But if you do like to mix and match but kind of stay within the same kind of like, oh, here's your autumn colors, then this palette actually, as you've seen over my last few looks, it really does lean itself to that. I'm just really excited about it. Sometimes with palettes, I kind of go into it and I go, I'm not impressed. The Blend Bunny stuff, I don't really know much about the story behind the gal who started it. I'm guessing she's either a makeup artist or an influencer of some kind and came up with her own brand. We're just here because, like I said, I bought the Dollhouse palette and I really, really liked it. And then I thought, you know what, maybe I'm sleeping on this, so we should get into this one too. Okay, I'm gonna grab another, this is kind of a bigger fluffy brush. This is a Rougher 01, and I'm gonna go into Features, which is the lightest shade on here, and I'm gonna blend that from the front up over the top, really lift that eye when I bring brow bone. I love the fact that it kind of looks lemon yellow in here, but it's such a soft tint of yellow. It just makes the other yellow stand out, and it's just, or the mustard color stand out. It's just such a pretty yellow. I'm just really, in case you can't tell, I'm just really enjoying this palette for fall. I'm very excited about it. And I'm tired enough that I'm not excited about many things, but I'm excited about this palette. I should tell you something. Okay, so I've got the yellow and the mustard together. Now I've got to go into this shade down here called Doe Eye. What did I use? I stayed with Features, Unexpected, and Doe Eyed. So Doe Eyed is what I'm going to use next. I need to grab a little bit different brush. This is when you go, Shelly, if you use all these brushes, then you have to wash them. Yeah, true. This is not a Rougher brush. This is another Sigma brush. I think this is from the Alice in Wonderland collection. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of Doe Eyes right here, and I picked up such a small amount, but I know that it's so pigmented. If I'm doing a daytime, pose, be very careful. And I think one of the things, another thing that I like about the Blend Bunny formula is that sometimes with mattes, especially super pigmented matte, it's easy to get super patchy. And what I'm finding is that if I feel like I'm getting any kind of patchiness, I blend a little bit longer than what I would like when I do with, you know, something that when I use like a full opacity of, and it does blend in very, very nicely. It's just very usable, very workable. Okay, got that in there on one eye. Let's try to recreate the same thing eye. So tell me, you guys, about your experience with Blend Bunny. Have you ever purchased any of the product? They have some that are super, super colorful. I don't need another rainbow palette. I don't use very many of the rainbow palettes that I do have already. So you know what, even as I'm using these, do I think you needed all of the shades? Like this one I'm using right now is brown, but it's so dark and so opaque and so, I don't even know how to describe it, that I don't even know that I necessarily see the shift in tones from one to the other. Like, I know when I'm putting it on there, I'm putting on a different color combination. But I don't know that I necessarily needed it. Could I have done just like one espresso brown and gotten the same kind of vibe by blending it into the other shades? I think so. I'm gonna grab the shade right here called Putty, which I haven't used yet. It's kind of a warm mid-tone brown, slightly warm, yeah, warm, a little bit more reddish side. It's not putty, it's pouty. I don't know if I said that right. And I'm gonna put a little bit of it right up here at the top of my crease, kind of blend into the yellows and like the mustard and the light yellow. I don't know why I do this and then I go super dark and I'm like, oh, I'm not going anywhere today. Let's just stay at home. But I'm gonna put some shine on too. We might as well just use all the shades, right? I haven't used the black, the gray, the matte white, or the super crystal-y. I guess they're all kind of crystal. The shimmers they're very metallic-y in the best possible. I'm gonna grab my other brush here and kind of blend this out here just a little bit. I want to kind of soften it up a bit here. I'm gonna film something else when I'm done with this, something that I've been filming for a little while. So I'm gonna do makeup that I'm actually gonna on. Okay, I don't know if you're able to really kind of see all the different shades that I blended together. When I look at them in the mirror, I can definitely see the different gradients, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Okay, this is the one that's a little bit intimidating. This is the gold shimmer right in the middle. It's called Centerfold. So I'm gonna grab it. And their shimmers are very, like I said, they're very metallic-y. They're very smooth to touch. They don't feel like they've got a lot of glitter in them, but the effect is absolutely stunning. And I think, like, I put the majority of it right in the center to start with, and then as I press it out, I'm getting less and less glitter reflex because it's like distributing it a little bit. I don't know. I think it's just really, really, really beautiful. And again, it doesn't feel like, I mean, it just feels like molten gold, but I can tell that they're just like finely pressed glitter particles. I don't know. But as I tap towards the center, I get less opacity of the gold. I don't know, I think it's really pretty. And it doesn't seem to be settling into or accentuating the creases in my lid, which sometimes I run into being a, you know, a lady of a certain age. We don't have the smoothest eyelids still left in the world. Yeah, I'm digging this, you guys. This is fun. Little grungy, little dirty, little bruised, but kind of warm. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm feeling it. I am feeling it today. Okay, where'd my pencil brush go? I'm gonna grab this pencil brush. It's now, looks like it really needs to be cleaned. And I'm going to take the warm brown here called Pouty. I'm going to start with that under my lower lash line and just kind of define it a little bit. Sometimes I don't do much underneath my lashes because I can find that it sometimes can make your eyes look smaller. You just kind of be cognizant of that. But then sometimes I like to complete the whole thing. And then we're going to take Unexpected, which is the first shade that I used in my crease, and I'm going to use that to kind of just go down a little bit further and sort of soften it up, tie in those shades from the top and the bottom together. You know, like the normal stuff. It's so nice to sit here, you guys, and have a little bit of time. I have a little bit of time to film because I've just been go, 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 go. And this is relaxing to me. It's fun. I know that I've gotten crazy with, you'll see, the declutter videos are absolutely insane. And right now, really do have to go edit them to, you know, because I do that, right? I don't know. Here I am babbling. I guess I just missed you guys. Okay, I'm going to take the black in here because I haven't used it yet. I'm slightly curious as to how opaque that really is. This is like, why would you need a black when you've got the Shapely, Doe-Eyed, Ready, and Goddess are all just, well, Goddess is like a dark, cool chocolate brown. Doe-Eyed seems a little bit more of a green brown. Shapely is more of a seafoam brown. Ready is more of a burgundy, but Smoky seems like it's downright black here. So I'm going to take a little bit of it up here, put down his, just because I hadn't used those shades yet, and we're just trying a little tiny bit of it. I'm so happy about this palette. I know I've said that already, but it makes me feel creative, but yet still in my comfort zone. Like these colored neutrals, if that makes sense. This is the palette. If you're a neutral lover, this is a colorful palette for a neutral lover. Or if you're a colorful color lover, this is the neutral palette for color lovers. I love that analogy. I totally believe that. Yeah. And I'm a neutral lover who sometimes dabbles in color because, you know, my husband's band. Okay, let me clean off this other brush here a little bit. I'm going to go into the shade called Knockout, which is this white color. I'm a little bit scared of this one, but I love me a matte white inner corner, especially if it's opaque enough to cover up some of my discoloration. That's pretty. Take the littlest tiny bit of it right up here at the high point of my brow bone. It's a little too cool toned for the rest of it, but I think it works. Yeah, let me put some mascara on. Finish this up. This has become one of those eyeshadow looks that you don't necessarily know where one ends and one begins. They just kind of all works together. I don't also know why I got distracted. I put lip liner on and then never finished up here. So I'm gonna put this. This is a Ofra Matte Liquid. It's a little too pinky colored. It's called Pasadena, but I'm gonna layer another one on top of it. And the reason why I'm doing this is because my cheeks are a little pink, my eyes are a little bit more yellow. So I'm gonna take this Jaclyn Hill. This is in shade Absolutely. This is a little bit more of a yellowish undertone. Then I can blend the yellows and the pinks together and get a cohesive look. So I need powder. Didn't I? I already powdered my face. I don't need powder. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what I'm gonna leave with for the rest of the day. Probably a little bit more glam from a work from home day, but technically it's a Sunday. Hopefully the makeup will stay on all day, and then I can just, you know, change clothes and go to dinner with my husband tonight. We tend to go out Sunday night for dinner. We used to go out a little bit more, but with the band schedule, we just play too much. He plays too much. I manage too much. I'm like a control freak. All right, you guys. So this is not my first impression, right? Because I used it yesterday. Let me scoot you out. Okay, so not necessarily a first impression with this Blend Bunny all done up 20 shade Ultra Glam palette, but it's almost a first impression because I used it yesterday for the first time. I'm really, really loving this. So I think, you know, whether you go with the Dollhouse from the other video that I did or this one, I don't think it's a bad choice, especially if you like fall colors. Where's my blush brush go? There it is. I have to fix this a little bit here. It's the taking off and putting back on Patrick Ta foundation. I'm really enjoying. The first couple times I used it, I felt like it kind of sat on my skin a little bit, like I could see some texture. I think using that other foundation though, or that other primer, this one from NYX, has made a huge difference. So I feel like, and I wouldn't have thought that, I would have thought that with a cream product like this that I would really need a, sorry, I'm just trying to get some of the glitter off my face. I would have needed like a moisturizing foundation. I'm not gonna say that it pilled underneath, but it definitely didn't seem like it worked as well as it could have. So I'm finding that a gripping primer, which I think I got rid of most of my gripping primers, my declutter that you'll see. But this one is, you know, one that I kept. This is a plumping primer, plumping serum and primer. I don't know what that means, but it's working really well with the Patrick Ta foundation. So if you bought this and you spent the money for it and you were like, oh no, this is not working for me, try it with a different primer and see if that makes a difference. There, I'm not one to normally give, I have so much glitter. I've got to try to get it up here a little bit. I'm not someone to give a whole lot of beauty advice, but my experience is I was about to give up on it. I was like, oh no, this is not working for me. And then I switched my primer and now I think it's absolutely beautiful. I used it last night. It stayed on so well. Here, a little less glitter. All right, you guys, I hope you guys are doing really well, and please consider sticking around. Click that little subscribe button. Sometimes I ramble in videos and apologize. You guys are so kind to me though that I just feel comfortable being myself. So I hope you guys appreciate that. Anyway, leave me a comment down below. Talk to me about Blend Bunny. And if there's anything else that you want to see, if there's something you're dying to see, I get through my requests as soon as I can. I gotta mix them in with some of the new stuff. Sometimes I'm pretty good about getting the new releases out really quickly, but not in the last month or so because frankly the travel is I have one more work trip this year and then I'll be done with the work travel for a while. So anyway, hope you guys are doing really well. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.